Hey YouTube, what's poppin'? This is your boy Anonymous and welcome in a new video. Today we're gonna be tackling a new machine in Hack the Box which is called Redeemer. So get your hot drink and let's get hacking. So we're back after we spawned our machine, and as always we start with our nmap scan. So sudo nmap and our scan. Of course we're gonna remove this and we put our IP address and we go scan it. So this time we have very interesting finding. All of the ports that nmap scanned are closed. So do you guys remember in the first video when I told you that Nmap only scans the most famous or most used 1000 ports? And I've also told you that there are about 65 plus thousand ports that Nmap can scan. So this scan that we have done on the target machine, it's basic. So to scan more than the most famous 1000 ports, we're gonna use this new flag that we're gonna learn about, which is the P flag. So P, and then we are gonna specify the ports, so from port 1 to maybe the first 10,000 ports. So this is going to scan not only the most famous 1000 ports, but that's gonna scan the ports from 1 to 10,000. And if you want to be very deep, you can do this, which is gonna scan every port is available that is available, but we're not gonna do this today. We're just gonna need the first 10,000 ports and we gonna do enter. So nmap actually got back with one port that is open, which is 6379, and the surface is Redis, and the version of Redis is Redis key value store 5.0.7. But what is Redis? And Redis is a database, and it's not like the traditional database. I will assume that you already know what a database, guys. However, if you don't know what a database is, I will still explain it anyway. So, a database is a server. Just draw that. Sorry about my bad drawing. So it's a server. This is the database. It's probably gonna be SQL, which stands for SQL. And here you have the client side, which is just like a computer that user uses. And here is the server of the actual website. So this is like the code that the website has, of the website, and the server has the code and is running the website on it. So the computer is gonna actually connect to the server of the website to access the website through HTTPS, and stuff gonna start to show up on the client. So like the page, the login page, stuff like that. So like you have the user here, maybe the items. So there's an item, there's an item, there's an item. Everything gonna get rendered from the HTTP from the web server. Okay, so the web server actually gets its data from the SQL. So let's say the user wants to buy something, so the user will send a request to the web server. The web server will ask the SQL database if we have this item, and the SQL will give it back, say yes we have an item, and the server will give the response back to the user, and saying yes we have his item and you can add this item um, to your shopping thingy. So this is how a traditional database works. Redis is different. So SQL actually works on stuff called like hard drives. Can work on hard drive or SSDs as well. So SSD or hard drive, which is can stand a lot of data in it. So like maybe what, maybe 5 terabytes of data, maybe even 10 terabytes of data, which is like in a big websites or big servers that needs a lot of data. However, this is kind of slow. Sorry, this is SSD, not SSS. So SSD or hard drives. This is kind of slow. So Redis is working on RAM, which stands for Random Access Memory. So this is the RAM, and it exactly works like the RAM that you have on your PC. A RAM speed reading and writing into the RAM actually being calculated in nanoseconds, and SSDs and hard drives are milliseconds. So you can see the difference in time measurement or speed here. So in data, the website asking for very regular, let's say like the session of the user. You don't want the every user to ask for the session, and the SQL has to do all of the fetching and sending this session back to the server for the user just to log in. So this kind of requests that being regularly being asked for, we can use Redis for that, which is very fast. You're gonna send this info very fast back to the user, so the user does not need to wait for too long. When you think about Redis, think about a customer going into a shop, and the shopkeeper knows a particular item is being asked for by a lot of customers. So it does make sense for the shopkeeper to put that item on the shelf or a very easy access place for him just to grab it and give it to the customer, rather than going back to the warehouse and search for the item for maybe 5 minutes at a time and giving back to the customer. So that item, since it's been asked very frequently by all of the customers going to the shop, it just makes much more sense to keep the item on the shelf and not just to store it in the warehouse. So think about Redis just like that, to put items just for easy reach on the RAM, given access, easy access and much faster access than the regular SQL database. So now we know how Redis works. How can we connect to it? So to connect to Redis, we use Redis CLI, which stands for client, H stands for host, and the host is going to be our IP address. Yep, our IP address, and port P, which was 6379. And again, we're gonna assume misconfiguration, so we're not gonna use any passwords. Yes, and now we are, I believe, in Redis database. So Redis stores info in key spaces, and key spaces is like a variable in any other programming languages like Python or C++ that stores a value. So every key has its own value. So how can we get these keys? Okay, so we do info key space, and that's gonna give us the databases that is available. So we only have the database 0, which is the index, the first index, which is 0. So we have only one database we're gonna use. So to use this database, select and the index, which is 0. We got okay. Now we are on database. So to show the keys, do keys and star. That means just show me everything. Okay, now we have the flag. We have a key called flag. So to get the flag, so we say get, and then the name of the key, which is flag, and here is the flag. Just write in plain text. And yeah, so now we got the flag. We can put it in our flag here, submit the root flag, and we solve the data machine. Easy peasy, right? So thank you so much guys for watching. It was Anonymous. See you in the next video. See ya.